Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I'm joined by Matt Turner. It is a long time since I've said that intro, Matt.
Yeah, it is. And I just want to let you know, Rob, that once this podcast hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Did you have a good time by any chance?
I did, sir. And if you don't know what Rob's talking about, I just came back from New York Comic-Con. I've gone something like, I'd have to figure it out. I think I went like 7-8 years in a row. And then in 2020, they just canceled it for obvious reasons. And then last year in 21, they had all the new variants that were going around. And in New York City for New York Comic-Con, you get people that come from all over the world. So my crew, the Four Horsemen crew, as we call it, myself, Andy Hedder, my sister Ashley, and her husband Ryan, that's the crew. They all decided not to go. Where this year, my brother-in-law decided to book a trip to Disney World the week before New York City. So it was just me and my tag partner, Andy Hedder, which I then said to my sister, you realize you can go to Disney World anytime you want. Like New York Comic-Con's only 4 days, but you know, hey, I don't argue with people.
And can I just say that your tag team partner has an outstanding wardrobe?
Yeah.
Like,
he's a piece of work.
When you said about like he likes to dress up, I just assumed like, you know, cosplaying, so like, you know, going as Wolverine or something like that. No. Like Alexa Bliss, Morticia Adams. The guy went all out. Fair play to him.
Elvira. He's a big Elvira fan, and the girl that plays Elvira, she was there. So he went as now usually, because we go there 4 days, so usually he's 2 days dressed up, 2 days not. But because of 2 years absence, he went 3 years. He went 3 out of the 4. He went as Elvira, Alexa Bliss, and then He-Man on the last day. But I'm trying to think. I will go through my phone and I will send you the pictures there, Mr. Goodwin, of other things that he's done. I know, like She-Hulk, Wonder Woman, Gem, Bishop or Cable. I mean, it's so funny. It's just so funny because like I'll get back from the gym, because I always make sure that there's a gym at the hotel we stay at in New York City, and he's like combing his wig and putting his makeup on, and I just like take pictures and I'll start sending some to like my mom or my friends. Or now that you're in the mix, so you'll get the behind the scenes look as well. So yeah, it was fun. I was even texting you that when he went to go, he's a big Britt Baker fan. When he went to go get something signed by Britt Baker, Britt Baker, easy for me to say, she took a picture of him. And I was like, did you say anything like you're an independent wrestler? And so you could have used that. You were right there. Because she's like, oh my God, can I take a picture of you? And I was like, you should, you know, tell him, hey, my tag partner has sent our stuff in about 5 or 6 times. Can you give us a look? It's like nothing, you know, he didn't take advantage of the situation. But yeah, it's a ball. But boy, I tell you what, it's an endurance test. Like you really got to plan yourself out. But you're going to be waiting in line. You're going to be meeting people all over the place. But I always tell people that New York Comic-Con is something, if you're into the geek culture, it's something that everybody should experience at least once, because it's such a fun time.
Yeah, and the amount of like different things that you showed us there, you know, obviously you had the wrestling things with Britt Baker, and I know that Deonna Purrazzo was there, for example, and then you've got the panels with, I mean, would you like to explain who the people you were most excited to see in the first photo you sent me?
Yeah, we don't talk about much on here, but obviously I'm a huge fan of anything comic book, Star Wars, and Back to the Future. So there was a photo op with both Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox. It was very pricey, so I was contemplating doing it or not doing it, but I thought, you know, Christopher Lloyd's in his 80s. Michael J. Fox, God bless him, he's been dealing with Parkinson's for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. And I have friends of mine that have lost their, you know, parents and grandparents to Parkinson's. So I said, you know what, I'm going to pony up the money. I worked 19 jobs. I figured, you know, when am I going to get this opportunity again? So I did get my picture taken with one Marty McFly and Doc Brown. And so that was really fun. I got to meet Oscar Isaacs. Again, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I had him sign my Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi poster. And he was, you know, you get these brief interactions. You have to understand there's a zillion people in line, and it's a business. You're going to be shuffling people in and out of line. So you kind of can get that one question in and you kind of just move along. So he was, you know, super, super nice. But I've been to this con, you know, 8 or 9 times at this point. So it's like, I've met everybody from Mark Hamill to Stan Lee. And then on the comic sides of things, the late great Neil Adams, Jim Lee, a whole bunch of times. So it was like a very relaxed con. Like there wasn't really too much to do where you had to be at a certain place. But my favorite thing that I did, and I was very adamant on, teasing you and prodding you and kind of getting you going, was my Stardom X-Men crossover commissions that I had done by my good friend Alex Sanchez, who does all of my T-shirts. And not only this, but I didn't get a chance to tell you this. I was flipping through his art book because he has a table at Artist Alley because he is a professional artist. I was flipping through his art book and he had Godzilla fighting this monster that looked like Eddie from Iron Maiden. So I go, Alex, that looks like Eddie from Iron Maiden. He goes, yeah, funny you should say that because my publisher from IDW, I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, my publisher from IDW said, hey, do some mock-ups. We're going to do Iron Maiden versus Godzilla. So I came up with a couple things, and then like 2 days into me drawing, they're like, yeah, we're going to cancel it. Can you imagine an Iron Maiden versus Godzilla comic book? Like, sign me up. Take all my money.
Here's my credit card. Take them all.
Yeah, take my blood.
But yeah, seriously, I mean, if you haven't already seen these crossovers, you need to go and check out Matt's social media because they are something else. They're pretty incredible. I mean, do you want to go and just quickly go into to who you got?
Yeah, I did 4, and there's more coming. I gave him a whole bunch of those blank covers, and I said, when I come up with some more ideas, I'll shoot you some money, and then you can mail them to me. So there's more coming, but we did Suzu Suzuki as X-23. We did Saya Kamatani as the Phoenix. We did Julia as Storm, and he took, because he had Storm flying, so did both the back and front cover, which I thought was awesome. And then I know it's not X-Men related, but Mayu Iwatani as Supergirl. So those are the 4 that I got. Yeah, and there's gonna be a few more coming in. And if you have not seen them on my social media and you want to see them, just shoot me a message. I got no problem sharing the fantastic artwork from my good buddy Alex Sanchez.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm slightly disappointed that you didn't go with some of my ideas. Wolverina, for example, Azumi.
I said there's more coming.
Cyclops.
There's more coming. And if anybody has, I think I left him like 7 or 8 blank covers, and I said I got some more ideas coming. So I gave him those, and he said, yeah, so if anybody has some ideas of what I think I should get or you'd like to see, just let me know. I will commission him up. I think I might do Hazuki Psylocke. I think that one might be the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if there's any that we'd love to hear what your superhero and Stardom wrestler crossovers are. So let us know on the social media and all that sort of jazz. Let's start just by talking a little bit about the Patreon, Matt. Obviously, we had our winners of the 5-star Grand Prix Patreon competition. Would you like to announce the winner?
Yeah, Andrew Watt. He is our winner from the 5-star Grand Prix. And what it was 4 categories. So what you have to do is you have your overall winner. You have to have the blue, which was Julia, the blue block winner, which was Julia, the red star block winner, which was Tam. And then for a tiebreaker, the most overall points by someone that did not make the final. Now, I gave everything to our good friend and editor-in-chief, Mr. Sean Montrose, and he said, yeah, because I think there were like 4 people tied at 14 or 15 or whatever it was, but we kind of did some Sheldon Cooper mathematical equations, and Andrew Watt came out as the winner. And as of 2 days ago, I sent Andrew a message on our Patreon, and he has not responded. So, Andrew, if you're listening, either respond to either the social or either to the Patreon or to my social media, Matt Turner OF, with your address, and I will mail you out your winning prize. But I guess the fun keeps going, buddy, because now with the other tournament coming, the Goddess of Stardom tournament, Sean just put up the brackets, and we're doing the same thing. So it's going to be, again, overall winner, blue block winner, red star block winner, and then for a tiebreaker, the team with the most overall points that did not make the final. And we will be giving away a shirt that's on our website. So, take a look at there's something that you want there. If there's something that you don't want, I'll also be doing, if you want one of my shirts, I'll be doing that as well. And we have a variant logo that should be up in about 2 or 3 weeks. So once that variant logo is published, we will put that up. And Rob, you will do your magic as always to put that up on the website. So a lot of exciting things going on the Patreon. So that's that. And then also, we just put up the for the red star, the red tier and the white tier Patreon 2019 Goddess of Stardom tournament winners Dream Shine their title run. And what I did, Rob, is because I'm a charitable guy and I love all of our listeners and our Patreon listeners. Not only did I do every single one of their 2019 Goddess of Stardom run, I also did, when you win these tournament, you get a title match. So at the end, when they beat Bea Priestley and Jamie Hayter, Konami and Jungle Kiona, who were the tag champions at the time, they come out and say, let's do this. Let's do this tag match. So I figured I'm going to watch this tag match. So not only did I watch the tag match, but I put that tag match in the review as well. Now, have you seen this tag title match between Dream Shine and the members of Tokyo Cyber Squad?
I haven't. It's a match that's eluded me so far.
It is. I completely blew me away. It is definitely in my top 10 favorite tag matches in the history of Stardom. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. When you get a chance, definitely go and watch it because it is absolutely fantastic. So I did that as a bonus. Like I said, 1, I want to give everybody their money's worth. 2, I love all the listeners that we have on Stardom here on the Stardom cast. And 3, selfishly, I just really wanted to watch a match with Tam, Marissa, Konami, and Jungle Kiona. So that, like I said, that just dropped this week. And then at the end of the month, we're going to do Momo and Izumi, their 2020 Goddess Tag run. And I figured, well, if I did the tag title match on the 2019 one, I'm going to do it with this one. So I believe I guess here's a cheap plug. I don't have my book, Living the Dream, Stardom's 10th anniversary in review with me. I always have it with me when we do this podcast. But I believe that they challenge fellow Queen's Quest stablemates, Sai Kamatani and Utami Hayashishita for the Goddess belts. Do they not?
They do. I believe it was late November at Korakuen. Korakuen New Landscape, I believe this show is called. It's a good match. Very good match.
Shocker, right? So
who'd have thought?
So that's what we have for the white belt white belt tier. For the red belt tier, we just released. We do that every Monday. We do our weekly watch along. I just did the watch along of Sherry defending the World of Stardom Championship against our Lord and Savior, one Mayu Iwatani from World Climax Night 2. I know that was a match that some people loved. Some people just thought it was great. I gave it, when we did our review back in March, I gave it 5 stars, and I went back and watched it. And then I think as soon as I got done recording, I texted you immediately, and I'm like, this match is even better than I thought it was. I absolutely love that match. So that was what is on the Patreon for last week. And then coming up this Monday for a watch along, a match that was highly requested will be Hazuki challenging Bea Priestley for the World of Stardom title match. So that's all what's coming up on Patreon, past, present, and future. And again, if you want to get in that Goddess of Stardom tournament and you're not sure about if you want to go onto the Patreon or not, you can just subscribe to any tier, whether it's the $1 tier, the $3 tier, the $5 tier. That gets your entry into that tournament, and the brackets just need to be filled out by October 22nd.
Brilliant stuff. You've been a busy bee, man, and I love it. I love the fact that you made out like it's you did it for us when all you wanted to do, you wanted to see more Tam, and we all know that as well. You're fooling no one at all.
Damn right.
Just on the subject of Patreon, I just want to thank all of our amazing patrons over at thestardomcast.com/the Stardomcast. Joseph Usher, Rob Jones, Niagara Driver, John Owen, Velkage Bracker, Tom, Ed BC, Brandon Neal, Steve Clark, Emerson Stone, Alex Tremaine, Mike, Jeff Baker, Steve Cackler Manos, Colin Matthey, Eric Sander, Valdevante Walker, Darren Chatton, Plug Pedro, Andrew Watts. Don't forget to contact us, Andrew. You've won. Abel Miangos, Douglas Cole, Peter Haas, the Hammerhawk, Steve the Teacher, Trey, Andy Dufresne, Andrew Rugg, Andrew Rue, Nathan Yolovich, Sammy, Christian Wilson, Ringside TV, John Bezor, and Dane H. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast, guys. We really, really, really do appreciate it. Before we kick into some news then, I hate starting it with a negative, but I just want to have a little bit of a moan, Matt. And I know that obviously Stardom is doing incredibly well, and that's amazing. But Stardom World, the inconsistent uploads, something has to be done about it, because I've seen some people say it's it's a general lack of care for a Western audience from Rossi, I've seen as well. But I don't feel that's the case. Rossi's the booker for a start. Bushy Road are the owners. And I know that national expansion was the number one priority heading into 2022. But if they want to be the second biggest company in Japan, something they do feel themselves to be, then the turnover simply has to improve, because 4 and 5 days between the show taking place and an upload it's simply not good enough. Now, again, this is not a dig at Sonny, because the guy, I'm amazed he has time to sleep. But if that's the case, you want to expand into Western markets, which clearly they do by doing these shows in America with New Japan and things like that, you're going to have to sort the streaming service out. Because, I mean, Matt, you said before we went on air, like, you're wrestling in a show in front of 100 people that's streaming live on Facebook. If they can do it, one of the bigger wrestling companies in the world can do it. And some of these shows haven't got English subtitles, so they should be up. If it's a problem and if one person is overworked, then they need to hire more people, because the next step has to be an improved streaming service. Because it's, as we record episode 85, it's the 13th of August, and the show from the 10th went up, what was it, about 3 hours ago?
Yeah, about 3 hours. You literally text me as I was starting work, and you're like, "Hey, here's this show," and I was like, "Well,
exactly.
we can only do so much. We can only do so much. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what usually and I'm going to give it a public apology to our editor in chief, Mr. Sean Montrose, who does a phenomenal job here. We usually, when we record, I try to have it had to him by Wednesday afternoon, so this way it can be up first thing in the morning on Friday. And me and you were texting back and forth like, we need to review this Artists Stardom Championship match. I was like, well, hold on one sec. I said, let me see if I can kind of move some things around. So I text him, and as usual, Sean obliged. He's like, no problem. Just let me know when the feed comes over. I'll make some time, and it will get up by first thing Friday morning as always. And it's like, we had him on hold, on waiting for this show to get up, and now we're literally going to have the same thing we would have had it if we were to record a day earlier. So yeah, it's just you're right. I hate to talk negative about anything, especially something I love so much like Stardom, but the Stardom World thing taking 3, 4, 5 days, it's just unacceptable.
Absolutely. And I'm not going to flog a dead horse, because I do feel this comes round once every, 3 or 4 weeks in terms of Stardom. And it was the show from the 9th, I apologize, in Nagoya that's just gone up. But, there's still, including yesterday, as we record, it's the 13th, there was 3 shows in the can, and there was no way of watching them. It is incredibly frustrating, and hopefully, he says, with not a lot of hope, that's something that gets sorted in the near future, because, again, if Stardom want to become this powerhouse in the wrestling industry, then that is going to have to be something that is sorted. Let's head into some news then, Matt. I just want to talk briefly about an interview that Peps Wrestling did with Masha Slamovich. Now, go to their Twitter at Peps Wrestling. It's a really, really good interview. But Wrestle Purists actually gave a few little extracts. And the first one was, if there was anyone I would choose to face for the IWGP Women's title, it would have to be Julia. Now, first things first, Matt, I don't know how familiar you are with Masha Slamovich. I think it's Masha. I assume it is. If it's not, someone will correct me. But from the matches I've seen, she is incredibly hard-hitting, and a match against Julia would be outstanding.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with her. I've been on a handful of shows with her as well. Absolute sweetheart of a lady. Once that bell rings, she really turns it on.
And then also, she said in a separate part, I definitely intend to return to Japan when it is possible and for as long as possible. I don't know if I'll be able to be there on a full-time basis in the near future, but who knows what the road holds. Now, obviously, in her career, she's wrestled for literally every single Joshi company apart from Stardom, Sendai Girls, Reina, Heat Up, Waze. She had a long run in Marvelous in 2020. She's done shots in Ice Ribbon where she was teaming with Tekla, and in Diana as well. So she's not exactly unfamiliar with Japan, but obviously probably more than me then in that case. Is Masha Slamovich someone you would really like to see on that Stardom roster?
Yeah, I would like to see her. I like to see her, do some shots here from time to time. I mean, the Stardom roster just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's like, how much more can you handle? But if she's doing some tours of Japan, yeah, I mean, I would love to see her in there. With the Julia, with the Saya Ida, that would be a really really good match. I don't think she's going to be getting the title matches with like a Saya Kamatani or a Shuri or anything. But I mean, you throw her in a tag with Julia, I mean, that's going to be an absolute fantastic match. Like her versus Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe. I mean, those are matches that I, definitely would like to see. Or, her and Mina Shirakawa. Obviously, Mina's striking game, where it's been the last 6 months, and her submission game against somebody with a Masha Slamovich. That was a match that I would go out of my way to see.
And again, I actively apologize if it's Masha and not Masha. I'm sorry. I am terrible at reading names, which hopefully all of you know by now anyway. Something we didn't talk about really last week, and it was because I wasn't actually aware of the extent with which she'd left the company, is Unagi Sayaka, who announced on a YouTube channel that she's going to be stepping away from Stardom for a while and be working in various indie promotions in Japan and even maybe internationally. Now, our friend at 1222 Dragon Moon, which is a compulsory follow over on Twitter, has posted this, that Unagi will enter her first Gaian period. Now, I Googled the word Gaian because I am a very small-brained person, and apparently it's knowledge. So from what I understand, it is almost like an excursion sort of period. And she's going to assess every single organism inside and outside the wrestling world while she remains a Cosmic Angels member. Thus, she will likely miss most, if not all, of the upcoming Stardom shows for the time being, including the Tag League. Now, is this something that surprised you, Matt? Obviously, it came out around about the same time as the press conference when the Tag League teams were announced. Now, I'd somehow missed that whilst taking notes for all the stuff that had come out of the press conference. But yes, Unagi sort of spreading her wings away from Stardom. She's done some shows with, or she did a show on the 7th of October at Just Tap Out where she beat Aoi. She's got a show booked in at Korakuen again for Just Tap Out, I think, on the 4th of November, where she'll be taking on Tomoka Inaba. And then she's doing some other shows sporadically around Japan. What's sort of your feeling on all this?
I mean, you can kind of, when she announced it, I wasn't really shocked just because of all the losses that she took during the 5-star. I mean, it's somebody that they were, heck bent on pushing. I mean, I believe she got the first title shot against Saya Kamatani when she won the white belt. So it's like, going into this year, it seemed like somebody they were putting some steam behind. And I knew Unagi is very capable in the ring. And I know me and you were talking towards the end of the 5-star that we had Pink Kabuki, either going really far in the tournament or winning the whole thing. And when the brackets are announced, you're like, where's Unagi? And then not too long after that, she's leaving for Stardom. But I don't like the fact that she's leaving Stardom, but I like the fact that she's going to bet on herself. She's going to go out into these other different, Japanese wrestling companies, and maybe we'll see here somewhere over the States. If anybody wants to book, Team Blue and Gold and Unagi or somebody else, the Team Blue and Gold Cosmic Angels, I will do my best to learn the dance. Please let me know, Matt Turner OF. But I like the fact that she's betting on herself. She's going to be more of a focal point when she goes to these other promotions, just because she's almost, for lack of a better term, lost in the shuffle. I mean, it's not only just in Stardom, but in Cosmic Angels. Obviously, all the money there is behind Tam for obvious reasons. I can go into 5 different podcasts on that. But and then now all of a sudden you throw in, Natsupoi. Obviously, she was someone that was at the top of the card when she was with DDM, and she goes over to Cosmic Angels on that, that big split there. And then the big push, and rightfully so, for Mina Shirakawa. So now it's like you're looking at Unagi, who a year ago might have been like the second in command in Cosmic Angels, is like 4th. And then you even throw in like the Waka saga, even with all the losing that's been going on, it's still a very, very interesting story. So it's like, I see where she's like, well, maybe I'm just getting lost in the shuffle. Let me go away and reinvent myself. And then maybe I'll come back 6 months, 8 months, a year and a half, what have you. and we'll see where she'll go. You know, she seems very passionate about pro wrestling, which I love. So I'm excited to see what she's going to do in other promotions. And I just don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of stuff outside of Stardom. But I'm definitely going to keep my eye on what Unagi's doing, especially the fact that she's working some singles matches at Just Tap Out, because there's some really, really good Joshi wrestlers over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, we're both big fans of Nanaba is fantastic. It came as a little bit of a surprise to me, only because, you know, when she debuted, she had the rocket strapped to her from relatively early on, and she improved a lot. That first 5-star that she was in, she got the surprise win over Tam. She beat Azumi. Some high-profile wins. You know, she's had 2 shots at the white belt. It's not like, you know, you mentioned that she was lost in the shuffle, and perhaps more recently she was the only one without a notable storyline, maybe. But it does surprise me that she's sort of gone, right, well, this is my... It seemed to me quite spontaneous, but, you know, she is in her 30s. You know, it's not like she has got, you know, ages and ages and ages and ages and ages to wait out until someone has something for her. So the fact that she has taken it upon herself to go, do you know what, I'm going to wrestle outside the company. I'm still going to be a part of Cosmic Angels. But like I say, I'm going to bet on myself. And I've got a lot of respect for that. And hopefully she comes back because she is incredibly passionate. She is entertaining to watch, both outside the ring and in the ring. So, yeah, all the best for Unagi. And just speaking of Waka Tsukiyama, I don't suppose you saw the very heartwarming tweet that Waka put out after Unagi announced she was leaving. And then Unagi retweeted it or quote tweeted it and said, you're not allowed to win your first match until I'm there to celebrate it with you, which I thought was really nice and has probably doomed Waka Tsukiyama to another 18 months of losses.
Yes, for another year. I meant well. My heart was in the right place, but you better keep taking those L's, kid.
And obviously, you did mention learning the Cosmic Angels dance. I mean, Natsupoi has proved that she can learn it quicker than Waka, so I have no doubt that you and Andy Hedder would learn it quicker than Waka, bless her. So, obviously, because of the inconsistent uploads on Stardom World, we only have the one show to go through today, which was the show from Toyama on Saturday, the 8th of October, 2022, from both at Toyama Multipurpose Hall Pearl Room in front of 436 people. This is the third time Stardom have run the venue, and it's the largest attendance that the company has ever drawn in Toyama. The last time the company ran the venue was during the 2021 5-Star Grand Prix, where the company drew a reported 293 people. So this is an increase of 48.8% in attendance. Now, I don't know about you, Matt, but it looked a lot fuller. I thought it was going to be much more than 436 people. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, I mean, it looked really full. And I noticed when I do these stuff, when I do this Patreon, when I'm going back to, 17, 18, 19, obviously 2020, there's, nobody there. But like, there's just way more people in the crowd. But yeah, I thought it looked like there wasn't an empty seat, but maybe that's just what the building sat.
So match 1 was our singles match. Amisuri defeating Ruaka with the Argentine backbreaker in 7 minutes and 17 seconds. Now, I know when I went on, let's call it my sabbatical, you're not a negative person by any stretch of the imagination, quite the opposite, in fact, but I know that you weren't quite as high on Ruaka as you were on, for example, Hanan, Rina, Momo Kogo. Now, I was wondering, has that changed, or do you still not quite see the spark with Ruaka?
Yeah, I think, again, I don't like to, bear. I mean, obviously, Ruaka is very young and she is getting better, but I think Ruaka is dead last. If you were to have me rank everybody in the Stardom roster, the top 10 is jumbled, but Ruaka is like dead last. Not unless she's in a tag and has like Momo or Starlight Kid around her. But in this singles match, I really wasn't expecting much, but I was surprised, and I thought a lot of her stuff looked really good. Everything she did made sense. So you can kind of see maybe the fact that she was omitted from this year's 5-Star Grand Prix, maybe it lit a fire under her. And then, outside of doing the occasional tag, she hopefully was back in the dojo training. But I thought another big thing on this one, too, Ami Sourei, who's been, she was over double digits in this tournament. Ami Sourei gave Ruaka a lot in this match. And I thought that these two really worked well together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing with Ruaka is she's good for where she needs to be at the moment. At the moment, she's just effectively a heel lackey. And she brings something. You look at Momo Kogo, you look at Miyu Amasaki, for example. They are stereotypical babyface. Momo Kogo in particular is very much in the Mayu Iwatani sort of mold. And, with Rina, who is very small, very petite, you can see that Ruaka is going to be a bruiser and a powerhouse. And I think that's the perfect spot for her. My only issue with Ruaka is that her moveset didn't seem to be greatly improving or greatly diversifying, whereas the others were. Hanan as well in the Mayu Iwatani mold. Here, she began to adapt her offense to attack Ami Sourei's leg. And I thought, oh my God, that's great. And then she stopped. And I was like, oh, we were so close. And then obviously Ami Sourei dispatched her. She did give Ruaka a lot. And I do think Ruaka looked good in this match. But I do agree with you. I'd like to see just a little bit more improvement from Ruaka. What did you give this match?
I give everybody, the gentleman, 3 stars. This one I bumped up to 3.25 stars. Yeah, I agree with the Ruaka. She needs, and not only that, but I think she'd be so much better if she worked on her strikes. Everybody in Stardom seems to be getting better, almost show in, show out with their strikes, and that's Ruaka. I think that's the big hole in their game. But yeah, I gave this one. It was, it didn't go too long. It was a little over 7 minutes, so I gave it 3.25 star.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to state as well, that Ruaka is, 18? She has got a lot of time to grow and hone and adapt. So we're not concerned in any way. It's just we'd like to see something a little bit different, which we almost got here. I gave it 3 stars. Nothing particularly spectacular. I'm a big fan of Ami Sourei, and she did give Ruaka a lot. I thought there was one great moment when Ruaka had to literally power Ami Sourei into the fisherman suplex, which looked good. But yeah, nothing botched here. Looked good. 3 stars. Match 2 was a tag team match between the Donna Del Mondo team of Mai Himi defeating the Stars team of Koguma and Saya Ida when Maika pinned Saya with the Enkura Toshi in 7 minutes and 2 seconds. Saya Ida heel turn confirmed. She refused to do the dance, Matt.
Yeah, she we got back to the Koguma hypnotizing Maika and Himika with the bear dance. And then they bring Saya Ida in, and then Saya Ida does the gorilla dance, and then basically they beat the crap out of her. I thought that was, hey, again, comedy when it's well placed, it gets a kick out of me. And I thought this was well placed in the beginning, and then once everybody got on the same page, shit hit the fan in the best way possible. You have Saya Ida, who throws clotheslines and maybe the hardest chopper in Stardom, and then Mike and Himika just love throwing at least a dozen clotheslines per match. So yeah, fun stuff here. But yeah, I was like, why is Koguma beating up on poor Saya Ida?
She then seemed to come round and was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Yeah, I thought everyone looked good here. One of my, not necessarily complaints, but I know that something we spoke about was Koguma's reliance on the comedy in 5-star. And yeah, it started like that, but then it ramped up into a really competitive match. And there was one moment where I really bit massively on the Idabashi on Maika. It was a really, really well done near fall. And one thing I noticed when Maika and Himika are tagging together, they seem to legitimately enjoy tagging together. Like, Himika just smiles the entire time, and I think it's so sweet to see a team that enjoys tagging together as much as My Himi do. Obviously, not a tag league match, but did you see anything here that made you think, yeah, these are 100% winning the tag league?
I think just based on the whole Donald Del Mondo story with Julia winning and see, I mean, obviously we'll get into it as we get closer to the tag league, but yeah, I still have My Himi winning the tag league, and I think you're in the same vein as well. So that means one thing: they will finish with 4 points.
Yeah, they'll get 2 DQ wins against Oenetai, and that's it. Knowing our luck, like obviously, God willing, this doesn't happen, but one of them will get injured or something will happen, and they'll be out for the tournament.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
But yeah, I enjoyed this match. It was a fun little undercard tag. I gave it 3.5. Thought it was great.
Yeah, me same here, my friend. 3.5.
Match 3 then, and this was a really intriguing match. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. An 8-woman tag team match. The Queen's Quest team of Utami Hayashishita, Azumi, Sayaka Matani, and Lady C defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Tam Nakano, Mina Shirakawa, Natsupoi, and Waka Tsukiyama when Azumi submitted Waka Tsukiyama with the numero uno in 14 minutes and 3 seconds. We got the full outing of Azumi's new gear, and we saw that Waka Tsukiyama has learned more of the moves, but is still extremely wooden. Poor Waka.
Outside of the ring. Inside the ring, she's good. I'd rather have her get better in the ring than, especially with these 4. You have Mina, Tam, and Natsupoi just ooze charisma. So they, again, we talked about it months ago, where they kind of just put Waka in the back as like a 5th grade play. And then you said, yeah, I was that kid in the 5th grade play that they would hide in the back. Certain things you say, I don't forget, and that's one of them.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Two things in this match is obviously I'm a big supporter of Lady C because she just keeps getting better and better. But she got a little heat with me when she was doing the Tam pose. It seems like everybody's now mocking Tam. And not only that, Rob, did you notice that the beatdown of Natsupoi continues? Because not only was it everybody in the 5-star that beat up on poor Natsupoi, Lady C got into the beat up as well. So now they must be pushing Lady C because now she gets to mock Tam, and then she was just beating up poor Natsupoi with those chops, and then Natsupoi started making a little bit of a comeback, and then she just comes in and just Masahiro Chono's boots the one half of the It's just like, what's going on here? Is this like a rite of passage? Like, here's what we're gonna do, Poi. We're gonna have you turning on Julia. We're gonna put the tag belts on you, but everybody gets to beat the crap out of you. It's like an inside rib or something that's going on. Everybody from Julia to Lady C, you better watch out.
It's those chops. Every time Natsupoi has any sort of sustained chops, she cowers and then turns round, and then the sound that Lady C of hitting that chop on the top of Natsupoi's back, it was like, Christ alive. And you could just see these enormous handprints all over Natsupoi for the rest of the match, which was hilarious. Bless her. One thing, and obviously this was the big thing in the match, the spotlight was rightly on Mina Shirakawa, and I'm so glad that she isn't simply being distilled as the boob girl anymore, which was where it was going with a lot of matches, just focusing on that. She's aggressive, and it's almost like she's got this split personality. She's, happy and dancing as she walks in, and then she flips a switch and she's almost unhinged. And I love that sort of subtle character change we're getting with Mina now. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, and you probably have, but there's suddenly becoming, especially after a match, a subtle wedge being driven between Mina Shirakawa and the rest of Cosmic Angels. At the start of a match, it's all very chummy. They're all doing the thumb in the air rocket thing. And then as soon as, definitely when Mina beats Natsupoi at the 5-star final, and definitely here, she's left the ring on her own. She's left the ring on her own without, she's led the way, and Cosmic Angels have sort of fallen in behind. And I think it's really good storytelling because they could go several different ways with this, and they're almost, taken aback by the aggression with which Mina Shirakawa is going at people, and that was really obvious during their extended sequence with Sayaka Matani.
Yeah, I think with, there's really not much more you can do with Tam, at least for a little bit. Obviously, she lost to Sherry twice. She lost to Julia in the final. They're not going to put the white belt back on her. So I think you leave her and Natsupoi. Both of them are big stars and a phenomenal tag team. I think what they're going to do is, they're going to leave Tam and Natsupoi to do their own tag thing and let them climb the tag. They main evented, I believe, the last pay-per-view in a tag match. So I think what they're doing is they're going to need somebody as like almost a singles wrestler to kind of almost pull the load on Cosmic Angels, and I think Mina right now for how hot she's been, going into the 5-star and coming out of the 5-star, and in this match as well. I think that's just the way to go. And again, once Tam and Natsupoi lose the belts, which I don't foresee happening, at least for 5 or 6 months. Again, I could be wrong. I think then maybe you can kind of heat up Tam and Natsupoi on their own singles thing. But as of right now, I think that I did notice that, and very good pointing out there, sir, on that. So I think that's one of the ways that they may go. And another thing is they did a great job focusing not only on Mina versus Saya Kamatani in this match, but also Utami and Saya Kamatani versus Tam and Natsupoi. The kind of almost, now obviously we're getting on the 3rd of November, Mina versus Saya Kamatani. I mean, that's obviously a big match, but they also seem to be teasing a little bit of Aphrodite versus Tam and Natsupoi. So I'm all here for both those matches.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I think they'll both be great. One thing I will say is, you look back to Tokyo Super Wars last year, and the entire premise of Mina Shirakawa going for Tam Nakano's white belt was, almost Tam being very dismissive of Mina Shirakawa. And now, obviously, having brought Natsupoi into Cosmic Angels, I wonder if they're going to build on that and have Natsupoi as sort of Mina grow in jealousy of the relationship between Tam and Natsupoi. And I like, if they do go with that storyline, I like the mirroring of that happening in Cosmic Angels when it happened to Tam in Stars. I do think that will be excellent mirroring and excellent storytelling. Obviously, they can't do it at the moment because without Unagi and without the Cutler's girls, Cosmic Angels aren't blessed with people. But I think that could be an interesting storyline going forward. This match, I really enjoyed that aforementioned sequence between Saya and Mina, which started slightly ropily. It then accelerated into a brilliant exchange. Mina's strikes have massively improved, and it was nice after seeing quite a couple of submission and limb-based matches that she didn't just default straight to that in this match here, which I thought was great. Overall, this was probably my second favorite match on the show. I gave it 3.5, thought it was really, really fun.
Yeah, I agree with you on second favorite match of this show. I liked it a little bit more than you. I gave it 3 3/4. I thought this was excellent by all 8 ladies. And it was really good to see Lady C. Again, obviously, she's kind of the low person on the totem pole in this match. That's no offense to her, but when you have 3 of the best wrestlers in the world, and Utami, Azumi, Saya Kamatani, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle, but I thought they did a great job showcasing her. And she did the double Giant Baba clothesline, not to be confused with the double Great Khali clothesline, as, for our listeners that have been listening to us for a long time, Rob thinks that Lady C steals her stuff from Giant Khali. I say no, it's Giant Baba. So
there's a reason she's called the Great Khali, my friend.
How dare you?
I honestly do. I do think it needs pointing out that Lady C looked really good here, and I think if she can find that niche of, if she's wrestling someone like a Mayu or someone like a Hazuki or or a Natsupoi who will ragdoll themselves around for her, then she's going to come across like an absolute beast. And obviously she works her way through the roster and works her way through the ranks. I think that's going to be a really, really, really cool dynamic as she goes on in her career. Match 4 was a tag team match. The God's Eye team of Shiori and Mirai defeated the Donna Del Mondo team of Julia and Mai Sakurai, with Mirai submitting Mai Sakurai with the Mirror Mare in 12 minutes and 53 seconds. I said before that the improvement in Mai Sakurai is one of the best things to come out of the 5-star Grand Prix, and I think she looked great again here. There was one particular highlight where she slipped out of a submission into her own STF on Mirai, and it looked flawless. I like what they're doing with Mai Sakurai. They're giving her, for lack of a better phrase, a no-nonsense haircut. She's not focused on that. She's not focused on the dancing of Cosmic Angel. She's focused on wrestling, and it's paying dividends for her.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Oh My Julia team, and I was a little bit disappointed that they weren't teaming in Tag League. I understand, we talked about it last week. I understand the whole reason why Tekla's coming back. She's teaming with the biggest star in the company, the winner of the 5-star. So I get that, but I'm interested to see what the Mai Sakurai and Lady C are going to do, just because of just the improvement on both those ladies. And they're going to be in the ring with, the best of the best. obviously we are one show removed away from the 5-star Grand Prix, and we already get Stardom. Bless them. We already get a tease of what more than likely is going to be the main event of the big show of the year at the end of December with Shuri and Julia. They didn't give us a lot, but they gave us just enough to say, "Oh man, like I can't wait." Now, granted, they did have that championship match back at night 1 of World Climax. But as great as both those ladies were back in March, here we are some 6 months later, and they're better now than they were back then. So it's like we just got that little bit of tease just to get our beak wet a little. And I thought that was great. And they didn't even make us wait. It's like, oh, I figured that Mirai and Mai Sakurai were going to start out. Like, no, Sherry and Julia was like, nope, we're going to start this out. So I thought that was a really good way to start this match. And then it just seemed like the rest of the match was built around Mirai, which rightfully so. That's the person you kind of want to get over the most in this match.
Yeah, and I think, just going back to your point about Julia and Syuri, I like the fact that this feud is about the title and nothing else. Like, they're still friends, they still respect each other, but it'll be interesting to see if it remains that way as we near Dream Queendom. Now, I fully expect that to be the main event, because I can't think of a hotter main event with Julia in the final. I don't think they'll run Tam again. They've done it in the final. They've done it a couple of times for the white belt. I don't see that happening for Dream Queendom. And honestly, Suzuki is a really hot feud. I don't think that would main event Sumo Hall. So I do think they'll go with Julia and Syuri. Does that sort of telegraph every Syuri defense between here and then? Yes. Will it stop them being good matches? No. Will it stop me enjoying the Micah match? No. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if they throw any more wrinkles in, or if it will just stay two highly competitive and highly aggressive people going for the title, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like certain storylines. As long as they're good, I'm good. But my favorite storyline is we're wrestling. It's the whole reason what drew me to Ring of Honor. We're wrestling to see who's better. You know, you get football games or soccer games or baseball games or what have you. And it's not like, well, the pitcher talked bad about the batter's mom. It's like, that's why no, it's like you have the best of the best just to see who's better. But going back, you touched on Suzuki. I think Suzuki is going to be one of Julia's first title defenses, main event of pay-per-view. And I think they're running Budokan the day before Wrestle Kingdom. I think on the 3rd, they're running another pay-per-view. So it's like you have Dream Queendom on the 29th, and I'm almost positive on the 3rd, because they're going to have so many people from kind of outside the country coming in for Wrestle Kingdom that I think they're running a big show at the Yokohama Budokan. So maybe you do Julia's first title defense there. I mean, you're going to have a big main event there. So I don't know, but kind of, not to get off the subject, but how about Risa Sera and Suzuki? They're not in the tag league, Robin. I wanted to bring that up last week, but did you kind of, were you kind of scratching your head at that? I kind of figured they'd be a shoo-in for it, be in the tag league.
When you look at the teams that they've managed to get together just from the Stardom roster, I'm not massively surprised. Obviously, their number one priority is prominence, and getting the prominence name out there. They've been wrestling a lot in Stardom. Obviously, the 5-star Grand Prix scheduled this year especially has been incredibly grueling. So it would have been nice to see them as a tag league team, and I think they would have done very well. But ultimately, they're not Stardom wrestlers. They are prominence. Their whole aim is to increase the popularity of prominence. So yes and no. I would have been more surprised if the Colors girls weren't in it. But
yeah, good point, sir. Good point. Yeah.
Overall, I gave this another 3.5. I thought this was really, really good. It gave us just that little tease of Julie versus Syuri. I thought Mai Sakurai hung really, really well in the match with everyone in there. Morale like a killer, just absolutely beheading Mai Sakurai on several occasions. And I loved it. Yeah, 3.5 stars.
Yeah, 3 3/4. I'm right there with you, brother.
Match 5 and our main event then was the 6-woman tag team match. The Uedatai team of Momo Watanabe, Starlight and Saki Kashima defeating the Stars team of Mayu Iwatani, Hazuki and Momo Kogo, with Momo Watanabe picking up the win over Momo Kogo with the Tequila Sunrise in 15 minutes and 25 seconds. This is the most consistently good I've seen Momo Kogo in a match in a long time, Matt.
Yeah, she was fantastic here. And she had a lot of momentum coming out of the 5-star. Again, remember, she was a replacement. She replaced Tekla. And we all knew that she was going to eat a whole bunch of L's, and she did, but she looked good in that. And again, it's easy to get lost in the shuffle. You're going up against the Artists of Stardom champions, two of the best wrestlers in the world on that team with Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe. Oh, and by the way, your tag partners are Hazuki, who was red hot coming out of the 5-star. I believe both are MVPs of the 5-star. And then one of the greatest wrestlers of any generation, Mayu Iwatani. So it's like, yeah, it was easy for her to get lost in the shuffle, but they did a good job highlighting her both on the offense and the defense because, the two Momos, they got in the ring quite a bit. And you knew who was going to come out on the end of that one, the top of that one. Momo Watanabe, she put the poor beating to one Momo Kogo, did she not?
She was relentless. And it's one of the big reasons that I'm such a fan of this team that currently holds the Artist of Stardom championships, because they all offer something completely different. Like, you've got Saki Kashima, who's your flash pin, sort of not necessarily your cowardly heel, but sort of, your high speeder, so to speak. You've got Starlight Kid, who's your high flyer, and you've got Momo Watanabe, who's just your bruiser, someone who will kick 7 shades out of you, but can also wrestle a really, really good match. And it's such a frightening team, that is. I really like the chemistry that they've got going on. There was 2 moments where their triple wheelbarrow codebreaker into a bulldog combination, that looked smooth as, and then they followed that with the triple team leg sweep sit out powerbomb. I love that finish. I know it looks slightly contrived and probably is a little bit unnecessary, but I love it. As a visual thing, I think it looked great. Hazuki and Momo rekindling that feud, I thought was brilliant. There is heat between these two. Hazuki still has not been able to beat Momo Watanabe, and Momo Watanabe eliminated her from the 5-star. So that carrying that on is great. We had the continuing rivalry between Mayu Iwatani and Starlight Kid. And then we got Momo Kogo, who beat Saki Kashima in the 5-star. So there was a little bit of sort of, I need to get my win back from Saki. And there was a lot of momentum, like you mentioned, with Momo Kogo. Overall, though, this match gained an extra 1/4 of a star from me for Hazuki performing a suicide dive that didn't look like she was going to die. It was possibly the cleanest one she's done since she returned, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, this not only that, but her and Mayu, they did the stereo ones, which sometimes if you're just a half a second off coming off the other side of the ropes, you're either going to launch or tangle your other opponent up. And Mayu has one of the best suicide dives you'll ever see. So I thought that was really cool. They did them in stereo. And I like how this match built. Again, you had the quick heat on Momo Kogo in the beginning. She eventually tags out, and you get a mini match with Mayu and Starlight Kid. And that was, you had your high speed, just looked so smooth, the two of them and what they did. And then they tag out to Hazuki and Momo Watanabe, and you get a completely different match. You know what you're going to get. You're not going to get any Hurricanranas or Lucha arm drags. You're just going to get the two of them just throwing forearms until one of them drops. So it's like you almost had like 3 mini matches right in a row just to start out this match. It was really good psychology, good way to build the match. And then you just see the great tag team chemistry that Mayu and Hazuki have, where they're kind of, a whale tie is they're building the momentum in this match. And then you see Hazuki using the pump kick very much the way that Mayu uses the super kick. And they do them in stereo back to back. And then they do the dives. So I thought that was really good. And then ultimately, poor Momo Kogo gets back in the ring. She gets her stuff in, the 619 DDT, the springboard dropkick, which looks fantastic. But then ultimately it spells doom for her when the Uedatai team just makes, they're a well-oiled machine. They're the Artists of Stardom champion. So they're able to get the advantage on Momo Kogo, hitting some triple team finishers, and then hitting the Momo going to the Tequila Sunrise. But yeah, I had this one 4 1/4 stars. Absolutely loved this match.
Yeah, thought it was great. And it's nice to see the teams again. Obviously, I love the 5-star and I love the singles matches, but to see the team dynamics again, because I'll be perfectly honest, as I was trying to catch up on the 5-star, I did miss any non-5-star matches. So seeing the likes of Lady C, Ruaka, people like that who I haven't seen wrestle in a while has been quite nice. And obviously, like I say, seeing the team dynamics is quite refreshing. I gave it 3 3/4. Easily match of the night. Again, the Uedatai chemistry is fantastic, and Momo seems to be growing in confidence, just like Starlight Kid did when she turned heel. Momo, and I'm glad she's not just relying on the spanner every single time, because that was a slight concern that was what she was just going to go to every single time. So that is what we've got in terms of show reviews. Next episode, what we will try and do, Stardom World depending, we've got a lot on next week. We're going to try. So again, emphasis on the word try. We're going to try and get show reviews from Nagoya, Hiroshima, and then the show from the 12th in Totori City. We've also got New Blood 5, which I believe airs on the 19th of October. Hopefully, I haven't heard anything to the contrary. I assume that is going to be streaming for free on YouTube. The other 4 have. I can't see why they would change that here. So if it streams live on YouTube, then we'll review it, of course. In terms of the Nagoya show, we're not just going to read out results because I'd like to give my opinions on them. I'm sure Matt's the same as well. But I do just want to talk about the Artist of Stardom Championship briefly, with the Uedatai team going to a 30-minute draw because, Rossi Ogawa, it's got to be a time limit draw, against the Queen's Quest team of Utami Izumi and Saya Kamatani. That title defense puts them up to 5, which puts them 3rd in the all-time rankings. There's only the Cosmic Angels team of Tam, Unagi, and Mina, and the team of Mai Himipoi, who've both got 7. Also, in terms of days held, they're currently on 138 days, which is the 9th longest reign out of 27. So it's a good, healthy reign here from the Uedatai team. Would you like to see them break that 7 defenses, Matt?
Yeah, just based on the fact their matches are unbelievable. They had 2 matches this year where I was like, that's the best Artist Stardom Championship match I've ever seen. Their match that their last, obviously I didn't see the 30-minute draw. I'll probably watch that tonight. But their match where they had with FWC and Hanan, I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
Excellent match.
And then the match where they won the belts, that was one of the best artist matches I've ever seen. And then the match with Micah Himmick and Julia, although it was a tad bit short, that was fantastic as well. So, yeah, if they're going to keep putting on bangers like that, especially the 3 of them, we just talked about it a few minutes ago, they work so well together. Yeah, absolutely. Keep the artist belts on them. Again, I'm a huge fan of the Queen's Quest team, especially the trio of Utami, Izumi, and Saya Kamatani. I always say they remind me of the 4 Horsemen, where they're the coolest people when they enter the room, but you also know someone's about to get your ass kicked. So maybe they run that back somewhere at a pay-per-view and they drop it there, but it doesn't seem like that feud between those 6 ladies is over.
Also, interestingly, Saki Kashima is currently 2nd in the all-time rankings for those that have held the Artist of Stardom belts the most. She's joint 2nd with Mayu Iwatani at 5. Io Shirai is the top person with 6. I'd love for Saki Kashima to be the one to break that. I'd love to see her just... I feel like she gets overlooked a lot. She's a fantastic wrestler, and she's never going to be red belt champ. She's probably never going to be white belt champ. So I think something like that will be a nice accolade for her because, like I say, especially over the last 3 years, I think the heel turn has really sort of taken on to a whole new level because I wasn't a big fan to start off with. But what she's managed to do, and she is legitimately one of the funniest people on the roster as well. she's just great, and I'd love her to be the one to break the Io Shirai record. I don't know if she will, but we'll wait and see. Also, coming up, we are going to be recording, hopefully, fingers crossed, our interview with Kevin Kelly ahead of the Stardom and New Japan shows on the 17th of October. If you've got any questions for Kevin, please put them on Twitter, Patreon, Facebook, Discord. Ask away, and we will do our best to ask as many questions as is humanly possible. We've already had loads of responses, so thank you. I've got them all in a folder, and we'll make sure that we ask Kevin all of those. Not entirely sure if I'm going to ask him about the Natsupoi or Ace Austin being the best twirler of a baton, but hey, we might do. Who knows? Matt, have you got anything you'd like to finish before we wrap it up?
No, just want to plug our fantastic sponsor, Puro TV. Head on over to www.puro-tv.com for all your Japanese professional wrestling needs. He's updating that page so frequently, I can't keep up with it. And if you enter the code VISTA, VISTA 10, you save yourself 10% off your order.
Sounds like a deal to me. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, guys. We truly do appreciate it. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We will be eternally grateful if you consider throwing $1 or so our way on our Patreon, www.patreon.com/the Stardomcast. Matt does an absolutely incredible job over there. It's a wonder when he sleeps. You can also follow us on Twitter at the Stardomcast. You can join our Discord. Make sure you check out the website as well, which has got all of the championship histories and how to get into Stardom and all of our podcasts and merch and all of that good stuff over at thestardomcast.weebly.com. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. And Matt, I'll let you sign us off, buddy.
You can find me on the Twitter and or the Instagram, Matt Turner OF. I greatly appreciate everybody's support, because just remember, it's not just my podcast, it's our podcast, because we're all in this together, and everybody's different, everybody's special.